They laughed at humans. They ignored their warnings. But what they didn't know was that Earth was hiding a secret weapon, and it was about to awaken. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more amazing tales. Humans had been underestimated for centuries, viewed by other civilizations as weak and incapable of true innovation. They had been dismissed as insignificant in the larger cosmic order, while advanced alien species dominated space. Earth seemed small and irrelevant, yet deep within its remote regions, hidden from the eyes of both humanity and outsiders, lay a lab that held secrets far beyond what anyone could imagine. It was a place once buzzing with energy, ideas, and creation, where brilliant minds had worked tirelessly on a project so advanced it could have changed the course of history. Over time, the lab fell into neglect, abandoned as the world outside moved on. Governments forgot its purpose, and people who once cared for it passed away, leaving machines to gather dust and papers to yellow with age. Wires hung like lifeless vines from the ceilings, and glass containers that once held mysterious chemicals now sat cracked and empty. Yet even in its decay, the lab seemed alive in a quiet, almost eerie way, as if it remembered the energy and brilliance that had once filled its walls. The designs and devices within, though incomplete, carried the silent promise of power, a promise unnoticed by all. Inside, computers long disconnected from the grid still held fragments of data, encrypted files that no casual observer could understand. Equations scrawled on chalkboards hinted at revolutionary energy sources, and strange devices, half-finished, sat in corners, waiting for hands skilled enough to bring them to life. The humans who had built it had vanished, leaving no instructions, no guidance, only a legacy of genius hidden beneath layers of dust and neglect. Every corner of the lab told a story of ambition, risk, and imagination that outsiders would never recognize at first glance. Outside the lab, nature slowly claimed the building, vines crawling up its walls, small animals nesting in broken vents. Yet the lab's aura of innovation remained untouched, its presence almost defiant against the passage of time. It was as if the lab itself refused to be forgotten, a silent testament to human ingenuity and determination. The air inside smelled faintly of old metal, oil, and chemical residues, a reminder of experiments that once sparked hope and fear alike. Even the broken machinery seemed to whisper stories of creation, of humans daring to reach heights that others considered impossible. The location had been chosen carefully, far from prying eyes and cities, accessible only to those who knew its coordinates, hidden in a valley surrounded by mountains, a place where the wind howled like a guardian and the sun barely touched its roof. Humans had built it with foresight, knowing that the world might not be ready for what they were creating. Every wall, every door, every lock had a purpose, designed to protect secrets that could not fall into the wrong hands. Yet, despite all precautions, time had a way of erasing even the most carefully hidden truths, leaving the lab to slumber in silence. Within the lab, human ambition was frozen in time. Machines half-assembled waited for sparks of life. Test subjects long gone. Data recordings stored knowledge that had yet to be fully understood. It was not failure that filled the room, but potential, a quiet power waiting for someone to recognize it. The lab itself became almost a character, breathing through its circuits, humming through its cables, reminding the world that even when humans were dismissed, their creations could endure, holding secrets that might one day change the fate of everyone. As centuries passed, stories of the lab became myths, whispered among the few who still remembered, tales of a weapon that could alter balance, of humans capable of unimaginable achievement, yet most ignored them, thinking of humans as simple, incapable beings, unaware that the lab had been more than a workplace. It was a monument to human creativity, a silent rebellion against being forgotten. Its walls contained the echoes of minds that refused to accept limits, minds that had designed wonders even when no one watched. Even in abandonment, the lab was a seed, dormant but alive, waiting for the right hands to awaken it. It embodied everything humans were told they were not: strong, clever, inventive, unstoppable. Its existence was proof that even the most neglected, the most overlooked, could hold power that would one day be revealed. The forgotten lab stood silently in its valley, its legacy waiting patiently. A challenge to those who underestimated humans. A warning that genius does not fade even when neglected, and that even in oblivion, greatness could rise again. Humans might have been ignored by the universe, dismissed as weak, forgotten by their own kind. Yet the lab remained, a beacon of possibility, whispering through rusted circuits and cracked screens, waiting for the day someone would uncover its secrets. The air thick with unfulfilled potential, every shadow in the lab hinting at inventions that could shake worlds, proving that even when humans were unseen, their power and brilliance were never truly lost. An alien delegation had been traveling through the galaxy, curious and confident, seeking new worlds to explore and evaluate. They had passed countless planets that seemed insignificant, small, or lifeless. Yet something about Earth drew their attention. Perhaps it was the faint traces of electromagnetic signals, or maybe an instinctive curiosity that told them a civilization had existed here once. They descended carefully, scanning the planet's surface, expecting nothing more than ruins and dust. Deep in a remote valley, hidden among mountains and forests, they discovered the lab, its structure partly concealed by nature's reclaiming hands, vines clinging to walls and wind whispering through broken windows. At first glance, the aliens laughed, thinking it a relic of a primitive species. Outdated machines and dusty screens seemed incapable of any real power. Yet they were cautious, their sensors detecting unusual energy readings, faint but persistent, as if the lab itself were quietly alive. The aliens entered, moving with precision and confidence, their sleek forms gliding over broken floors, analyzing every detail. They tapped on inactive screens, activated dormant sensors, and examined strange devices that sat motionless yet appeared deliberately constructed. They joked among themselves about how a weak species could have attempted something so ambitious. Yet their humor carried a hint of unease, for the lab's design was unlike anything they had encountered before. Intricate, modular, and intelligently adaptive, as if anticipating actions even from unseen observers. They examined the chalkboards, covered in equations and sketches, alien eyes scanning patterns that human minds had created. Some symbols made sense. Others seemed abstract, but a hidden logic underlined all of it. The aliens were skilled at technology, yet even they could feel a subtle complexity in the design. It hinted at innovation that was overlooked, ideas that could surpass current universal standards. And though the humans who created it were long gone, their intelligence seemed to echo in every corner, every circuit, every fragmented data file. Curiosity replaced laughter as the delegation delved deeper, probing the machines and energy conduits, activating dormant systems, watching as old wires carried tiny pulses of electricity, lights flickering as if the lab were stirring from a long sleep. Alien sensors measured outputs that should have been minimal. Yet they recorded unexpected fluctuations, subtle yet powerful, enough to spark unease among the delegation. They began to realize that what had appeared as primitive technology was actually a seed of something far more advanced, something that could not be fully measured by their instruments. As they explored, the aliens noticed strange patterns in the architecture, hidden compartments and redundancies designed to protect critical components. It was clear that whoever built this lab had thought far ahead, preparing for contingencies and failures. Their pride began to falter as they recognized the foresight of humans. The species they had dismissed as insignificant had created something far beyond its apparent limits. A weapon of potential, dormant but capable of awakening, a tool that could challenge expectations, even the strongest civilizations. They began documenting, scanning every device, copying files, analyzing energy flows, and discussing possibilities. Yet the more they explored, the more cautious they became. They sensed that interacting too much could trigger unknown consequences. The lab seemed alive in a way they could not fully understand. It was more than a building. It was an archive of human ingenuity, silent yet defiant, as if the species itself were speaking across time, reminding them that judgment based on appearances could be fatal. Despite their initial dismissal, a sense of respect grew among the aliens. Though subtle, it was undeniable. They recognized that humans had left a legacy hidden from the universe, underestimated and overlooked, yet containing the potential for great power. The delegation debated whether to continue exploration or leave it untouched. Curiosity wrestled with caution, for the lab hinted at a force beyond prediction, a creation that could not be ignored, And even in their advanced perspective, the aliens began to feel a rare unease. The humans they had mocked were not gone entirely. Their brilliance lingered, waiting to be awakened. The aliens finally decided to leave, but not without careful observation. They marked the location, recorded their findings, and left with an unspoken acknowledgement that this small, forgotten planet held secrets that might one day surpass even their own achievements. They departed cautiously, leaving the lab behind, unaware that the humans who once inhabited it were slowly returning, ready to reclaim what had been left dormant, and that the so-called primitive weapon was about to prove its true power, beyond all expectations. Even as they vanished from sight, a quiet pulse seemed to resonate through the lab, as if it had waited patiently for the right moment, for the right hands, a promise of awakening that only humans could fulfill. And the aliens, confident and advanced, left with the faintest trace of worry, sensing that what they had dismissed might one day become their greatest challenge, the lab's silent power ready to rise from neglect and reshape the course of history, unseen yet unstoppable. A small team of humans had returned quietly to the remote lab, unnoticed by the rest of the world. They were a mix of engineers, scientists, and thinkers, all underestimated by society, dismissed as dreamers or failures. Yet they carried with them determination, skill, and an unshakable belief that the lab held secrets worth uncovering. As they approached the building, the air seemed charged, the faint hum of dormant machines greeting them like an old friend. Every broken window, every rusted pipe spoke of years of neglect, yet also of hidden potential. They stepped carefully over debris, their boots crunching on dust and fallen metal, eyes scanning every corner, hands tracing the outlines of unfinished machines, feeling the textures of wires, switches, and panels long untouched. It was as if the lab remembered them, responding to their presence with subtle pulses of energy. Screens flickered faintly, sensors stirred, and circuits hummed quietly, a silent acknowledgement that human hands had returned, hands that were capable of awakening the genius lying dormant within. The team began with the simplest devices, reconnecting power sources, cleaning damaged components, and analyzing the fragments of data that remained. Even the oldest computers held secrets encrypted in ways that seemed almost playful, challenging anyone who approached to think creatively. Equations on chalkboards were studied line by line, patterns recognized and expanded upon. The humans marveled at the foresight of their predecessors, realizing that the lab had been designed not just to function, but to grow, to evolve under the guidance of those clever enough to understand it. As they worked, they uncovered strange devices partially assembled, components whose purpose was unclear at first, yet each piece seemed to fit into a larger puzzle. The humans experimented cautiously, combining parts, running simulations, testing energy flows, and watching as systems that had slept for decades began to stir. Faint lights blinked in sequence, motors spun slightly, and instruments recorded data with an accuracy that even modern technology struggled to match. It was as if the lab itself was coming alive, responding to the attention it had long waited for. Challenges arose constantly, circuits that had corroded, data files that were partially destroyed, chemical compounds that had degraded, yet every obstacle seemed to spark creativity rather than frustration. The humans improvised, adapting designs, inventing new connectors, and creating ways to bring old systems online. Each success fueled their determination. The air inside the lab seemed to pulse with possibility, energy vibrating subtly as if cheering them on. A reminder that genius could endure neglect, but could also thrive when recognized and nurtured. Some machines revealed unexpected behaviors, responding in ways the humans had not predicted. Yet instead of fear, there was excitement. The unpredictability hinted at capabilities that had never been fully realized. The lab was teaching them, guiding them, encouraging them to push further, to innovate, and to trust in their instincts. The humans felt a growing connection to the creators long gone, a chain of intelligence stretching across time, linking generations through the pursuit of discovery and mastery. They worked in shifts, day and night, blending into one long period of focus and exploration. Laughter and excitement punctuated the quiet hum of machinery, conversations filled with ideas and speculation. Every breakthrough made them realize that the lab was more than a forgotten project. It was a testament to human resilience, intelligence, and vision that even when overlooked by the world and dismissed by other species, humans had left a legacy of invention capable of reshaping everything. By the end of weeks of careful work, key systems were fully operational. Devices that had been inert for decades hummed with controlled energy, and screens displayed data that hinted at potential far beyond what they had imagined. The humans stood back and admired their progress, aware that they were only scratching the surface, yet proud that they had begun the awakening of something extraordinary. A weapon not just of power, but of intelligence, adaptability, and human ingenuity, waiting for its purpose to be fulfilled. The team knew that this was only the beginning, that the lab's full potential remained to be unlocked. Yet even in this first stage, the promise of what could be achieved filled them with awe, a quiet pride that they were the ones chosen by circumstance, skill, and determination to breathe life back into a forgotten creation, a creation that would one day show the universe that humans, though often dismissed, could rise above neglect, transforming the overlooked into the unstoppable. The lab, once silent and forgotten, now pulsed with energy and anticipation, circuits alive, devices ready, and systems evolving under human hands. It was clear that something extraordinary was unfolding, a reminder that genius, even when neglected, could never be destroyed, and that human ingenuity, guided by persistence, intelligence, and vision, could awaken the most dormant of creations, setting the stage for power that would astonish the universe. As the humans continued their work, the weapon slowly began to awaken, its systems coming online with a precision that seemed almost alive. Circuits pulsed with energy, sensors adjusted to the environment, and mechanisms that had been dormant for decades started moving as if testing their capabilities. Every component seemed to respond to the human's guidance, adapting in ways that no machine should have been able to. It was not simply a tool, but a creation that learned, evolved, and grew stronger under careful attention. The humans watched in awe as the weapon demonstrated unexpected power. Energy flows stabilized beyond theoretical limits, components self-corrected, and systems that had seemed fragile became remarkably resilient. It was as if the lab itself had imbued the machine with a form of intelligence, responding to its operators and optimizing itself with every action. The humans realized they were no longer just reassembling a weapon, they were awakening a force that could surpass anything known to them or to the alien observers who had once dismissed it. Small tests were conducted first, cautious experiments to see how the weapon responded, and each test revealed surprising results. The energy emitted was clean, concentrated, and capable of being redirected with precision. Minor adjustments in configuration produced major improvements, and every measurement confirmed that this was not an ordinary creation. It had been designed to exceed expectations, to adapt to challenges, and to optimize its output without human intervention. The humans felt a growing excitement and responsibility, understanding that they had discovered something that could change the balance of power. As the weapon's systems synchronized, it began to demonstrate features that had not been fully understood from the old schematics. Hidden modules activated on their own, sensors recalibrated to detect threats or opportunities, and defensive measures unfolded autonomously. Every movement was deliberate, every reaction calculated. The humans marveled at the complexity, realizing that the original creators had built not just a weapon, but an intelligent partner, capable of thinking and evolving beyond its initial programming. The weapon's adaptive behavior was extraordinary. It began analyzing its surroundings, identifying weaknesses and inefficiencies in its own design, and suggesting improvements through simulations displayed on ancient but functional screens. The humans followed these suggestions, integrating modifications with care, and watching as the weapon incorporated each change seamlessly. It was learning at a rate no human could match, growing stronger, smarter, and more capable with every passing hour. Every adjustment, bringing it closer to a level of performance that surpassed even the most advanced alien technology. The aliens who had previously observed the lab would have been shocked, for what the humans had created was not static. It was alive in its intelligence, aware of its environment, and able to anticipate actions in ways that were unpredictable, yet entirely logical. The humans felt a mixture of pride and caution. knowing that they were awakening something immensely powerful, something that required their guidance, their wisdom, and their respect. It was a creation born of human ingenuity, yet capable of far more than any human mind had imagined. As the days passed, the humans tested the weapon's full range, exploring its limits, pushing it to extremes, and noting how it adapted without failure. Energy outputs that had seemed theoretical became practical. Defensive measures reacted faster than any human hand could, and predictive systems calculated scenarios with flawless precision. It was clear that the weapon was evolving independently, incorporating lessons from every trial, learning to optimize performance, and preparing itself for challenges that had not even been imagined. The humans felt a deep connection with the creation, seeing it not as a mere tool, but as a living extension of human creativity and intelligence. It had absorbed decades of neglect and dust, transformed through human determination, and now stood ready to demonstrate capabilities beyond anyone's expectations. They could feel the anticipation in the air, a quiet tension that spoke of potential, of power, and of the moment when the weapon would reveal its true abilities to the world. Every machine, every sensor, every circuit had awakened with precision, energy thrumming like a heartbeat, lights flickering in patterns that seemed almost communicative. The humans understood that they had crossed a threshold, turning a forgotten relic into a living, evolving force, capable of extraordinary feats. The lab itself seemed to vibrate with pride, acknowledging that the creation it had housed for decades was finally awake, intelligent, and ready. The weapon was no longer dormant, no longer neglected. It had become a symbol of human resilience, ingenuity, and foresight, demonstrating that even in abandonment, brilliance could endure, adapt, and grow beyond imagination. It waited silently but powerfully, prepared to face any challenge, to prove that humans, though once dismissed, had created something capable of surpassing all expectations. A force that could conquer obstacles far greater than any observer had ever believed possible. When the humans finally activated the weapon for a full-scale test, the results were beyond anything they had imagined. Energy surged through circuits, mechanical parts moved with fluid precision, and the entire system hummed with a controlled intensity that filled the lab with a palpable force. The weapon reacted instantly to commands, yet it also began to operate autonomously, adjusting its systems to optimize output, adapting to variables the humans had not even considered. It was clear that the creation had crossed the line from dormant device to intelligent entity. Initial tests were small, designed to measure power output, precision, and response time. Yet, even in these controlled scenarios, the weapon displayed abilities that defied expectation. Energy beams concentrated perfectly on targets, shielding mechanisms adjusted automatically to environmental changes, and predictive systems anticipated every movement. The humans watched in awe, realizing that they were not simply testing a machine, they were witnessing the awakening of something that could think, adapt, and learn. The weapon's intelligence became more apparent with every trial. It began analyzing previous tests, calculating improvements, and subtly suggesting adjustments to maximize efficiency. The humans followed these recommendations, integrating minor changes and watching as the system incorporated them seamlessly. Every action was precise, deliberate, and effective. Unlike any human or alien-designed technology they had encountered, it was evolving, learning from its environment, and from the humans guiding it, preparing itself for challenges that had yet to appear. The aliens who had once observed Earth and dismissed human creations would have been shocked, for the weapon had far exceeded any expectations. Its capabilities surpassed conventional analysis, and its adaptive intelligence meant that no strategy could fully predict its actions. The humans felt a mixture of exhilaration and caution, knowing that they had created something immensely powerful, a force that could shift the balance of power if unleashed. Yet it was also under their guidance, loyal to the human hand that had awakened it. As the tests progressed, the humans increased complexity, simulating scenarios that challenged the weapon's adaptive abilities, sending it through unpredictable energy fluctuations, testing its response to environmental stress, and introducing variables meant to measure intelligence. And in every scenario, the weapon excelled, anticipating changes, adapting systems, and maintaining optimal performance. The humans realized they were witnessing a machine that was not only functional, but truly alive in its intelligence, responding with foresight and precision beyond their own comprehension. One remarkable observation was the weapon's ability to predict outcomes. It calculated probabilities and executed actions that minimized risk while maximizing effectiveness. Small components adjusted in real time. Energy flowed with exact calibration, and defensive systems prepared for threats before they occurred. The humans marveled at the foresight built into the system. Understanding that this intelligence was a product of both the original creator's design and the human's careful guidance, a collaboration across generations and time. The atmosphere in the lab grew tense with anticipation as the humans pushed the weapon to simulate potential confrontations. Energy beams cut through simulated barriers with perfect accuracy. Defensive shields reconfigured instantly, and predictive algorithms adjusted trajectories before errors could occur. Every test reinforced a single, undeniable truth. The weapon was not just a tool of destruction, but an intelligent entity capable of strategy, adaptation, and independent decision-making. Excitement and responsibility weighed on the humans, for they understood the implications of what they had awakened. The weapon had become far more than they could have imagined. It was not only a source of immense power, but a testament to human ingenuity, perseverance, and foresight. A reminder that even when dismissed, overlooked, or forgotten, humanity could create something extraordinary, a force that demanded respect, awe, and careful stewardship. By the end of the first full activation, the weapon had demonstrated its true potential, surpassing every expectation and calculation. It had adapted, optimized, and learned from every trial, its systems operating in harmony with the humans who guided it. A perfect balance of intelligence, power, and precision. The lab vibrated with energy, every circuit alive, every device synchronized, a silent acknowledgement that the machine was now fully awake, aware, and ready. The humans understood that this moment marked a turning point. The dormant weapon of forgotten genius had become a fully realized force, capable of responding to threats, learning from experience, and executing actions with flawless accuracy. It was no longer a relic of the past, but a living testament to human creativity, foresight, and resilience. Ready to prove that even when dismissed, underestimated, or neglected, humans could awaken power that no one, not even advanced alien civilizations, could ignore. The aliens who had once dismissed Earth as insignificant quickly realized that the humans were no longer helpless. The weapon they had observed from afar had awakened, and the humans now controlled a force far beyond what they had anticipated. Alarm spread through their ranks as they approached the planet again, confident that they could easily dismantle or neutralize a primitive species, yet unaware that the humans had prepared carefully. Anticipating challenges and adapting strategies to turn apparent weaknesses into strengths. The humans remained calm, their focus on the lab and the weapon that had become an extension of their ingenuity. They had studied the alien behavior, predicted possible moves, and configured the weapon to respond automatically to threats. Every system synced with their plan, every energy conduit calibrated to maximize efficiency. The aliens approached with confidence, expecting an easy victory, but the humans were ready, and the weapon was no longer dormant. It had evolved to anticipate actions and counter them effectively. As the alien ships descended, the weapon activated defensive measures with precision, energy shields deployed instantly, intercepting projectiles and neutralizing attacks before they reached the lab. Adaptive systems recalibrated in real time, predicting movement patterns and adjusting energy flows to ensure maximum protection. The humans watched as their creation responded to threats faster than they could comprehend. Every test they had conducted now proving vital, the weapon operating with intelligence that surpassed even the most advanced alien technology. The aliens tried multiple tactics, from electronic interference to physical strikes, yet each move was countered flawlessly. The humans had anticipated nearly every scenario, integrating adaptive algorithms and real-time energy redistribution into the weapon's core functions. Every attack was met with calculated resistance, every attempt to disable the systems neutralized before it could succeed. It was clear that the humans were no longer the underdogs, and the aliens began to recognize the threat posed by a species they had once dismissed as insignificant. As the confrontation escalated, the weapon began offensive maneuvers. Not indiscriminate attacks, but calculated strikes that targeted weaknesses with perfect precision, disabling alien equipment without unnecessary destruction. The humans guided these actions, ensuring that every response was efficient and effective. Every engagement demonstrating strategy and foresight, the aliens found themselves reacting rather than initiating, struggling to understand the intelligence controlling the weapon. A combination of human creativity and machine learning that anticipated every countermeasure. The humans used the environment to their advantage, the valley and mountains surrounding the lab becoming a strategic ally. Energy channels redirected through natural formations to enhance defensive and offensive capabilities. Alien attacks were funneled into traps they had not predicted, their advanced technology neutralized by careful planning. Adaptability and the weapon's evolving intelligence, the humans demonstrated that strategy, intelligence, and creativity could overcome even superior raw firepower, turning apparent disadvantages into advantages. Throughout the battle, the humans maintained focus, coordinating with the weapon, making minor adjustments, and learning from every encounter. The weapon itself began to optimize further, anticipating alien strategies before they were executed. Every move calculated with precision, every system operating in harmony with human intent. It was not brute force alone that won the confrontation, but intelligence, adaptability, and the seamless connection between human guidance and machine capability. The aliens, increasingly frustrated and alarmed, attempted to retreat and regroup, but the humans continued to press their advantage, the weapon adjusting tactics dynamically, disabling pursuit systems, neutralizing threats without unnecessary risk. Every encounter demonstrating that underestimation of humans had been their greatest mistake. They had assumed neglect equaled weakness. Yet humans had turned a forgotten creation into an unstoppable force. A weapon that combined intelligence, precision, and adaptability to dominate the battlefield. By the end of the engagement, the aliens were forced to withdraw, their confidence shattered, their superiority challenged by a species they had long dismissed. The humans had not only defended the lab, but demonstrated strategy, foresight, and mastery of a weapon that evolved with them, proving that even small, underestimated forces could achieve extraordinary results when guided by intelligence, creativity, and perseverance. The battlefield quieted, the humans victorious, and the weapon fully proven. The humans stood among the humming machinery, the lab alive with energy, aware that they had turned a neglected relic into a decisive tool, a creation that had defended them against overwhelming odds. The aliens now aware that Earth and its inhabitants were forces to be reckoned with. The humans had used strategy, intelligence, and innovation to outmaneuver a superior foe, demonstrating that even when underestimated, human ingenuity and determination could turn neglect into unstoppable power. A decisive moment arrived as the humans and their weapon faced the full scale of alien forces. The attackers regrouped, determined to reclaim dominance. But the humans had anticipated every possible scenario, their preparation meticulous, their strategy precise. The weapon, now fully awake and intelligent, monitored the battlefield, analyzing movements, predicting attacks, and adjusting its systems in real time. Every energy beam, every defensive shield, every calculated maneuver was perfectly executed, leaving the aliens struggling to adapt. The humans observed from within the lab, coordinating with the weapon, their instructions minimal yet effective. The machine acted independently, yet in complete harmony with human intent. Adaptive systems adjusted energy outputs to counter alien weapons. Predictive algorithms anticipated evasive maneuvers, and every calculated strike targeted weaknesses with unmatched accuracy. The aliens, confident at first, found themselves on the defensive, reacting rather than leading. Their tactics failing against a combination of human foresight and machine intelligence. As the engagement continued, the weapon demonstrated capabilities that even the humans had only begun to understand. It optimized defensive shields to create impenetrable barriers at critical points, diverted energy through natural terrain features to enhance attacks, and utilized environmental advantages to amplify effectiveness. The aliens attempted to overwhelm the system with numbers and firepower, yet every move was anticipated, neutralized, or turned against them. The humans realized that the weapon had become not just a tool, but a strategic partner, capable of autonomous decision-making and perfect execution. The tide of the confrontation shifted dramatically. The aliens began retreating from key positions. Their confidence shattered. They had underestimated human ingenuity, believing that neglect equaled weakness. Yet the humans had transformed the forgotten lab into a fortress of intelligence and power. Every counterattack was precise, every defense flawless, and every adaptive adjustment rendered alien strategies ineffective. It was clear that victory was now within reach. The humans' combination of creativity, foresight, and technological mastery had turned the battlefield completely in their favor. During the battle, the humans maintained focus, coordinating with the weapon while continuing to analyze alien patterns. Minor adjustments were made in real time to optimize efficiency and effectiveness. Energy conduits rerouted, shields strengthened, and offensive systems recalibrated. The weapon's learning algorithms adapted instantly, predicting alien strategies before they could be implemented. Each successful counter reinforcing human confidence and demonstrating the extraordinary synergy between human guidance and machine intelligence. The aliens, increasingly desperate, attempted unconventional tactics, deploying decoys and electronic interference. Yet the weapon anticipated these as well, differentiating between true threats and distractions, recalibrating energy flows, and neutralizing attacks with minimal input from the humans. It was evident that no strategy, no matter how sophisticated, could outmatch the combination of human ingenuity and an evolving intelligent system. Every failure for the aliens became a testament to human resilience, creativity, and the weapon's extraordinary adaptive capacity. As the confrontation reached its climax, the weapon executed a series of precise offensive maneuvers that dismantled key alien systems, disabling energy sources, communications, and movement capabilities. The humans watched with a mix of awe and relief, realizing that the battle had been won not by brute force, but by intelligence, adaptability, and preparation. The aliens' superiority in numbers and technology had been nullified by strategy, foresight, and a weapon designed to learn and evolve beyond any initial expectations. The aliens retreated entirely, their forces scattered, their morale shattered, and their confidence in human weakness replaced by caution and respect. The humans had proven that even a species once dismissed as insignificant could overcome overwhelming odds. The weapon, now fully operational and intelligent, had executed strategies that maximized efficiency and minimized unnecessary risk, demonstrating that foresight, creativity, and adaptability were just as powerful as raw strength. Victory settled over the lab and its surroundings. Energy still pulsing through circuits, systems humming with intelligence. The humans stood among the machines that had defended them, aware of the magnitude of what they had achieved. The battle had not only been a defense, but a demonstration of human capability, strategy, and foresight. A clear message that even when underestimated, humanity could rise to dominate circumstances far greater than expected. The humans reflected on their journey, from neglected creators to the orchestrators of an intelligent, evolving weapon. They had transformed abandonment into opportunity, neglect into power, and underestimation into a decisive advantage. The aliens had learned a lesson about the dangers of dismissing a species capable of innovation, adaptation, and strategic brilliance. And the humans, now victorious, had proven that even the overlooked could achieve greatness, turning a forgotten lab into the birthplace of a weapon that could conquer all. With the aliens finally defeated and retreating into the darkness of space, the humans stood in the lab surrounded by the humming energy of the awakened weapon, a silent victory that was both awe-inspiring and humbling. The machine, fully intelligent and adaptive, remained under their control, yet seemed aware of the magnitude of what it had accomplished. Energy pulsed through circuits like a heartbeat. Lights flickered in patterns that felt almost communicative, as if the weapon itself recognized the triumph and the role humans had played in shaping it. The humans moved carefully among the devices, examining data streams, observing the adaptive systems, and ensuring that every mechanism functioned flawlessly. The lab, once abandoned and forgotten, now thrummed with life, a monument to human persistence, creativity, and foresight. Machines that had lain dormant for decades now moved with precision. Energy flowed seamlessly, and the intelligence embedded in the weapon continued to learn from its environment, a quiet reminder that neglect could never erase true brilliance. Outside, the valley and mountains were calm once more, the echoes of the battle fading. Yet the humans were acutely aware that the world had changed forever. The lab had proven that even a species once dismissed as weak could harness forgotten genius and turn it into unstoppable power. The aliens, having underestimated humanity, would now approach every future encounter with caution, for they had witnessed firsthand what humans could achieve when their creativity and determination were combined with tools they themselves could not comprehend. The humans began to document every discovery, recording the systems, the adaptive algorithms, and the weapon's intelligence for future generations, understanding that knowledge was just as important as power. The lab, previously a silent archive, became a place of learning, a repository of human ingenuity and perseverance. They marveled at the foresight of their predecessors, the brilliance that had been left behind, and the ability of neglected ideas to rise when guided by skilled hands. As the days passed, the humans continued to refine the weapon, exploring its full capabilities, testing its limits, and ensuring that it could operate safely and effectively. Each modification was carefully considered, every system synchronized, and every adaptive function calibrated to maintain harmony between human intent and machine intelligence. The lab became a symphony of energy and intelligence, a testament to the power of collaboration across generations, combining the vision of the past with the skill of the present. The humans realized that the lab and its creation were more than just tools of war or defense. They were symbols of resilience, innovation, and the capacity of an overlooked species to rise above neglect. The weapon had not only defended humanity, but had proven that intelligence, strategy, and foresight could surpass brute force. The lesson was clear. Underestimation of humans was a mistake that no civilization could afford to repeat, for even forgotten and abandoned creations could awaken to alter the balance of power. The lab itself seemed to acknowledge the human's achievement, circuits and devices pulsing with a steady rhythm, as if breathing in sync with those who had awakened it. The walls that had once witnessed abandonment now stood as silent witnesses to triumph. Every shadow, every flicker of light, every hum of energy told the story of genius restored, of potential realized, and of the human's ability to transform neglect into unstoppable force. In the quiet moments after victory, the humans reflected on their journey, from dismissed and forgotten to orchestrators of a weapon that had conquered all. They understood the responsibility that came with such power, the need to respect intelligence, whether human or machine, and the lessons of foresight, planning, and perseverance. The lab had taught them that greatness could endure, hidden in plain sight, waiting for those capable of recognizing it and nurturing it to its full potential. The world beyond the lab had changed. Whether the humans chose to reveal the weapon immediately or keep it as a secret safeguard, they knew that humanity had proven its place in the universe, no longer dismissed, no longer insignificant. The weapon, once a forgotten creation, now stood as a living testament to human ingenuity, its intelligence and power, a reflection of the species that had dared to dream, build, and rise above neglect. As they stood among the humming machines, the humans knew that the lab was more than a victory. It was a legacy, a symbol that even the overlooked could achieve greatness, that neglect could not destroy creativity, and that human potential, when combined with intelligence and perseverance, could awaken forces capable of conquering all. The lab's quiet energy pulsed in acknowledgement, a final promise that the story of humans was far from over, and that the universe would never underestimate them again.